邮局局长杨忠武先生主持推荐会。
Now, please welcome Director General of Shaanxi Tourism Administration, Mr. Yang Dongwu, as tonight's host.
尊敬的吴前玉主任、各位来宾、女士们、先生们，大家晚上好。
Respectable Deputy Director of the Standing Committee of Shaanxi People's Congress, Mr. Wu. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
在这春意盎然的日子里，我们迎来了中美流年的美国旅行商考察团。今晚我们欢聚一堂，举行陕西旅游推荐会，向各位朋友展示陕西深邃的历史文化、优美的山水风光、独特的民俗。
This year marks the China-US tourism year. In this pleasant spring with magnolia flowers in full bloom, the inspection delegation of American traveling salesmen arrived in XI'AN. Tonight, we get together here to hold Shaanxi tourism presentation, presenting you a wonderful Shaanxi.
首先，请允许我介绍出席今天推荐会的各位贵宾。
First, please let me introduce our distinguished guests of today's presentation.
陕西省人大常委会副主任吴前进先生，
Deputy Director of the Standing Committee of Shaanxi People's Congress, Mr. Wu Qianjing.
纽约中国及亚洲旅行服务公司总裁，纽约太平洋地区旅游协会副主席孙明先生，
President of China and Asia Travel Service, Vice Chairman of New York PHA, Sun Bing.
世界红酒之旅旅行咨询公司总经理德洛丽丝·罗斯布什女士，
Managing Director of World Wine Safaris, Doris Rose Bush.
美国环球学生旅行服务公司副总裁约瑟夫·谢尔先生，
Vice President of Student Universe, Joseph Sire Jr.
戴比德库特旅行服务公司总经理黛布拉·皮蒂格·德库特女士，
General Manager of Debbie Decoit Travel, Deborah Parigo Decoit.
亚太跨区旅行社经理凯蒂·维兰·兰德格拉夫女士，
Manager of Asia Trans-Pacific Journeys, Katie Wayland.
世界亚洲旅行服务公司经理卡米尔·斯布拉女士，
Manager of World Awaits Travel, Mrs. Kamel Speraza.
出席推荐会的还有来自陕西和美国的旅行业界同仁们，我是陕西省旅游局局长杨忠武，在此请允许我代表主办方陕西省旅游局对各位嘉宾的到来表示热烈的欢迎和衷心的感谢。
Fellows in tourism industry from both countries are also present. My name is Yang Dongwu, Director General of Shaanxi Tourism Administration. Allow me on behalf of Shaanxi Tourism Administration to extend our warm welcome and deep appreciation to all distinguished guests present here.
下面我们欢迎陕西省人大常委会副主任吴前进先生致辞。
Now, let's welcome Deputy Director of the Standing Committee of Shaanxi People's Congress, Mr. Wu Qianjing, to make a speech.
尊敬的各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家好。
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
2016年，我们迎来了首个中美旅游年，这是习近平主席去年9月访美期间与奥巴马总统达成的一项重要成果，也是两国人民的共同期愿，更是全面推进中美建设性合作关系实现互利共赢的一大契机。
China and the United States launched the China-US Tourism Year 2016. It is an important outcome of President Xi Jinping's visit to the U.S. in September last year, a common aspiration of both peoples and also a great opportunity for boosting constructive cooperation and achieving mutual benefit and win-win results between the two countries.
正如奥巴马总统说的那样，每天我们都欢迎对方来到我们两个伟大的国家。今天在古都西安，我谨代表3秦人民对远道而来的美国朋友表示热烈的欢迎和诚挚的问候。
As President Barack Obama said, every day we welcome tourists to us, two great countries, the Americans to China and the Chinese to the United States. Today, I, on behalf of Shaanxi government and people, extend our warm welcome and sincere greetings to all friends present.
陕西是中华民族的摇篮和中华文明的发祥地，历史文化源远流长。省会西安是世界4大文明古都之一，是中国历史上周秦汉唐等13个王朝的金鸡之地，也是古丝绸之路的起点。这里不仅有大量的中华文明、中国文化、中华地理的精神标识和自然标识，更有着国际文化交融的历史见证。
Shanxi is the cradle of Chinese civilization, with long history and splendid culture. Its provincial capital XI'AN is one of the 4 major Asian civilization capitals in the world, in which 13 dynasties, including Zhou, Qin, Han, and Tang, seated their capital. XI'AN is also the starting point of Silk Road. As China's spiritual identity, it witnesses the international culture communication.
陕西界分中国南北，地跨长江、黄河2大流域，形成了集江南山水和大漠风光于一体的动人风貌。特别是雄奇的秦岭山脉、险峻的华山、汹涌的黄河壶口瀑布，举世闻名。秦岭山脉中更滋养着大熊猫、朱鹮等多种多样的珍稀动植物。
Shanxi has unique natural resources and advantages for tourism development. Stretching more than 1,000 kilometers from north to south with the Yellow River Basin and the Yangtze River Basin, Shanxi features various landforms such as the Loess Plateau, the Guangzhou Plain. In the Qingling Mountains, live diverse rare species such as pandas and crested ibis.
陕西荟萃中华美食，令无数游人津津乐道。西安直飞美国西海岸航线的开通，使得美国朋友只需12小时就能赏陕西美景 赏陕西美食。
It is fair to say that Xi'an is the paradise for gourmets. The direct flight from Xi'an to the US West Coast is open, so it takes only 12 hours for Americans to come to Xi'an to enjoy the beautiful scenery and delicious food of SHAANXI.
旅游业是永不衰落的高阳产业，也是传播文明、交流文化、增进友谊的天然桥梁。当前，中美旅游交流正迈入一个全新时期，对促进两国发展具有重要意义，把旅游打造成为中美新型大国关系的闪耀亮点，是我们要实现的共同目标。真诚欢迎更多的美国朋友来中国，来陕西旅游，感受中华文明的魅力。
As a sustainable industry, tourism is a bridge of spreading civilization, exchanging culture, and promoting friendship. The tourism communication between China and the US is entering a new period, which is of great importance to the development of both countries. Our common goal is to make tourism a highlight of the new type of major power relationship between China and the US. We sincerely welcome more Americans to come to Shanxi to experience the charm of the Chinese civilization.
最后，祝愿各位嘉宾此次考察采线活动获得圆满成功。
Finally, wish your inspection tour a great success. Wish all of you a pleasant stay in China.
感谢吴前进主任的精彩致辞。下面请欣赏具有浓厚陕西地域特色的国家级非物质文化遗产华阴老腔表演。这个表演在今年我们中国的一年一度的春节晚会上进行了表演，引起了很大的轰动。
Thank you, Mr. Wu. Thanks for your excellent speech. Then please enjoy a Shanxi folk performance of BEIJING Laoqiang, which is one of the state-level intangible cultural heritages.
哎呀，这要是咱们上了牛铁教会，咱把这个绕上，把它扣撂上，就把我的外甥朋友跳成啥样？好，回好了吧？好叫啊！大河 下面呢，给大家再唱首咱们华剧白鹿原的开场曲。他大舅，他二舅都是他舅，太阳亮月亮满都在天上，男人小女人都在看上，好吗？好，俺唱这话。
Thinking maybe my information can help you in the future. Thank you. Okay, shall I start? SHANXI is located, music, 音乐. SHANXI is located in the heart of China. On this map, look at the flashing red part. That is where SHANXI is located. And in the north of SHANXI province, there's a Mother River, Yellow River, running down from the north of SHANXI and then all the way to the east, flowing to the BEIJING River. And in the south of the province, there's the boundary of China, south of north, THि़uyền Mountain. SHANXI has a population of 37 million people with an area of 205,000 square kilometers. As regards the feature of terrain, SHANXI is long and narrow, higher in the northwest and lower in the southeast region. The province can be divided into three parts. The lowest plateau in the north, Guangzhou Plain in the middle, and the Qingbao Mountainous region in the south, stretching from north to south for over 1,000 kilometers. It spans from the temperate zone to subtropic zone. XI'AN is regarded as the birthplace of Chinese civilization. Our ancestors started to live here from 1 million years ago. China's first united empire was established here. Over 13 dynasties had their capital seated here. This is the birthplace of Chinese civilization. And also, 2,000 years ago, Emperor Wu Di of Han Dynasty opened the famous Silk Road, which is the trade route to link China, Asia, Africa, and Europe. This is the route that China's great inventions were introduced to the world. That's paper making, well digging, powder making, porcelain, silk. This is also the most important communication channel of economy, culture, and politics. This route is started from here, the ancient capital of China. In 1974, terracotta warriors and horses were firstly discovered after 2,000 years silence underground. The discovery of terracotta warriors is regarded as the greatest archaeological discovery in the 20th century. With your exploration of this land, you will discover Shanxi is one of the most amazing places in this world. As the world's two largest economies, China and US have broadened deep communication in the field of culture, politics, economy. XI'AN, as the root of Chinese tradition, attracts more and more Americans to come. In 1998, Bill Clinton, the former president of the United States, and his family came to XI'AN, and their first stop was XI'AN. They came to China, the first stop was XI'AN. In March 2014, the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, and her daughters and mother came to XI'AN again. I remember the Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes said that the visit and the intent of Obama's journey was to symbolize the relationship between the United States and China is not just between leaders, it's a relationship between peoples. With an increasing number of China-US communication and exchanges, the provincial capital of Shanxi, XI'AN, opened a direct flight to Seattle and will soon XI'AN, San Francisco on May 8th. If so, it will only take 12 hours from the western coast of America to XI'AN. HUASHAN civilization of Shanxi. I think when you come to China, you heard a lot about HUASHAN. Maybe you don't know what is Hua, what is Xiang. In China, Hua is regarded as, our people regarded the beauty of clothes as Hua, and the broadness of territory and the boom of culture as Xiang. Later people call the highly educated people as Hua, and the place wherewith highly educated people as Xiang. So Huangshan became the synonym of Chinese nation. That is to say, China is a highly civilized country with splendid culture. And the Huangshan is also the name of China. Huangshan civilization is the most ancient civilization in the world. XI'AN, Shanxi, is the cradle of this Chinese civilization. 1 million years ago, we have people live here. We call them LṳNG people. LṳNG is the name of the place where the fossils were discovered in 1963. They were among the earliest Homo erectus living in ancient China. And then we have the Zhou, Qin, Han, and the Tang. They are all the most prominent dynasties in China's ancient history. Zhou dynasty, the last slave dynasty from 11th century BC. In the Zhou dynasty, people produced what many consider the zenith of Chinese bronze ware making. Following followed by Qing. We have the shortest dynasty, but one of the greatest one, because China was firstly united. Then we have another 400 years long Han Dynasty, when the Silk Road was opened. And the Tang Dynasty, that is the most glorious time of XI'AN, of SHANXI, and as well as the whole China, which is from 6th to 9th century AD. China became the most powerful country in the world. If there is any insurmountable peak in China's ancient time, Tang Dynasty is absolutely the greatest one. Today, we have 72 imperial tombs spread in Shanxi province, while mostly concentrated in XI'AN and the suburb area. People call them Oriental Pyramid Complex. The most famous one among all these tombs is that of Emperor of Qing Huangdi, China's first unifier, and the owner of 8,000 terracotta warriors and horses. His tomb is also the biggest one. In 1974, the discovery of his tomb, his bronze chairs, and other relics nearby his tomb made himself and his tomb also well known in the world. Look at these vivid, lifelike artifacts. Can you imagine they were made 2,000 years ago by our people just by their hands? Now the terracotta warriors and horses have been listed as a UNESCO heritage. It belongs to him, belongs to our nation, and to the world. And we also have the tomb of Yellow Emperor, who is regarded by the historian as the first ruler of China, and lived in 26th century BC. And now he's also regarded as the initiator of Chinese civilization, and is said to be the ancestor of all HUASHAN Chinese. And the Yangling Mausoleum of Han Dynasty, Maoling Mausoleum. Also, the mausoleum of the Han Dynasty. But this tomb is belonged to Emperor Liu Che, who opened the Silk Road. And this is the Qianling Mausoleum. This tomb is not open yet, but this tomb is a very special one, because this is the joint burial tomb of two emperors. Emperor Gaozong of Tang Dynasty, Emperor Wu Zetian of Zhou Dynasty. You may ask me, why two emperors share one tomb? Let me tell you the answer. Actually, they were husband and wife. But Wu Zetian, the only female emperor in China's ancient history, founded her own dynasty. She herself is a legend. XI'AN, the capital of China, with a long history, splendid culture. When you walk to this town, you will be amazed by the richness of the historical heritage. There are 600 years old ancient city wall, big white goose pagoda, bell tower, Shanxi Provincial History Museum, one of the best national museums in China, with a collection of 370,000 items, including murals, paintings, pottery, coins, as well as bronze, gold, and silver objects. Forest of Stone Tablets Museum. This is the hardest book in China. We have over 1,000 pieces of stone tablets. And Huaqing Hot Spring. This is the earliest hot spring resort palace, dating back even to 2,000 years ago. People began to use it. Or we can say the king of the Zhou Dynasty began to use it from 2,000 years ago. It also bears a love story between Tang Emperor Xuanzong and his wife, his favorite concubine, Lady Yang, one of the most beautiful ladies in China. And the Dami Palace is the most significant imperial palace complex of the great Tang Dynasty. It served as the royal residence of the Tang Emperor for more than 200 years. It's 4 times as large as the Ming Dynasty Forbidden City in Beijing. The National Heritage Park is a view of the restoration on the basis of the Daming Palace. PHAN Temple is a royal temple of Tang Dynasty, and it keeps the finger bone remains of Sakyamuni Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. As well as this very beautiful great mosque, different from other mosques in the world. There is no minaret, no dome of the Arabic architecture. It's more like a Chinese garden. It's perfect combination of Chinese traditional courtyard and Islam religion. Every day, the local Muslim people will come here to attend the services 5 times a day. Shanxi is not only famous for her long history and a splendid culture, but also famous for its beautiful natural scenery. Qinling Mountain. Qinling Mountain is located in the south of Shanxi province, which is the natural boundary of north and south of China. There's HUASHAN Mountain, there's THY Mountain. HUASHAN Mountain is one of the 5 famous mountains in the whole China. Its beautiful scenery, exposed narrow pathways, precipitous drops attracts the strong-willed people to conquer. In the mineral-rich hot springs, it's a fantastic resort for the people to come during the weekend, because THY Mountain is just like our backyard in XI'AN City. Qinling Mountain not only is a boundary, but also supports a big variety of plants and wildlife. For example, we have tacking, we have golden monkey, we have giant panda, we have crested ibis, and we also have the Walking Nature Reserve. And in the Qinling Mountain of our province, we have over 250 giant Buddhas living in the nature reserve. And also, we have one of the most spectacular waterfalls, Huke Waterfall, in north of Shanxi province. Sorry, it's a little bit low. Yeah, we have a lot of things you can do. For example, XI'AN is the paradise for any people who love food. For example, we have the Chinese hamburger, we have the sticky rice, and we also have maybe in the... I remember you will have a chance to try a very interesting food. We call it dumpling banquet. You will have a little dumplings, steamed, fried, all kinds of dumplings, different shape, different filling, and you also will have the banquet for the emperor and the empress. So XI'AN is a very nice place to try different food. And also in XI'AN, you can have very good night shows. For example, our artists, they created a Tang Dynasty show based on the fresco we have discovered in the Tang Dynasty tomb, and they created the Tang Dynasty show. So XI'AN is not only a place you can see the history, and you can also to find very interesting folk arts, and also food, and also a relaxing place. I remember every day if I go to the foot of the city wall, sometimes I go to an old house to have a cup of tea or coffee and to meet the host. That is fantastic, because sometimes you feel the feeling can bring you back to 20 years ago. And the XI'AN is a very mature, so because the tourism of XI'AN has been developed for years, so we have very developed facility to welcome all the people from all over the world. For example, we have more than 50 4-star hotels and 20 5-star hotels, and in the future we'll have more. And now we have Shangri-La, Sofitel, and we'll have GWML, Ritz-Carlton. And I think no matter it's an incentive, it's a layer tour or any even an international conference, I think you can think about to bring them to China, bring them to Xi'an, because this is a fantastic place. They can enjoy a lot, they can experience a lot. And so I think I don't want to keep you long because I know you're hungry, and waiting for you is not the beautiful food, and also you're going to have a very beautiful welcome ceremony that was made by when Bill Clinton came to Xi'an in 1998. We had the same one for him. So it's going to be a fantastic night, and hope you enjoy. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
有朋自远方来，迎君兴致长安。今日相聚会，逢君带来年。落吊桥，开城门，迎贵宾。
一生漂泊摆渡，临岸却孤独。问天地向谁倾诉？千载历史我回顾，恩怨情仇怎堪数？帝王家终究是不归路。玄武兵变沧桑，马蹄声声乱。这火气小强不忍看，神归漫长谁轻叹？恩怨情仇我独伤，我到底守的是谁的江山？屋檐立下无字碑，眼带着泪。当初那个清欢媚娘的谁，是我用湿的双血，不舍的一切，痴痴地看我退回，心无悔。屋檐里无字碑，眼带泪。功过虽然是非我无愧，是怎人有他写，我就不了解。如真的才是轮回，原来山落湖山水，心肠不一家有你陪。平凡的心碎，爱过谁？
Good morning. You wake up already? Not yet. Okay. It's a lovely day. Still the beautiful sunshine. And today we're going to see the most important thing in XI'AN. That is the one of the highlights for you. Tour in China. Terracotta soldiers. Terracotta soldiers. And we call the terracotta soldiers as the eighth wonder of the world, right? And also it was listed as the World Cultural Heritage by the UNESCO at the year of 1987. And the terracotta warriors, we didn't find them until 1974. That means before the year, is there anybody knew the existence of the soldiers? No, not at all, right? Even you couldn't get any information happened in the Chinese history, secretly, and no records. Why? As we know, the history, it was written by the winner, by the victor, always. If the emperor, he didn't allow officials, the governor, to write down these things. So for the later people, no way for us to know that. But why the emperor didn't want us to know that he built so many terracotta warriors? Because this is the something only used for his second life. The emperor didn't want to build the museum and like the people like us, the tourists that go there to visit. He buried so many terracotta warriors underground, just guarding his graveyard and protect his spirit afterlife. You remember yesterday we saw the Yangling Museum, is that right? The small size terracotta soldiers. They did the same thing for the Jingdi Emperor the Han Dynasty. And today we are going to see the huge, the big ones. So these terracotta warriors, they happened before the Han, before the small terracotta soldiers. So their story happened in the very first dynasty in China, Qin, Q-I-N, Qin. And also yesterday I mentioned, and if it's possible, when you stay in XI'AN, you have to remember 3 dynasties at least: Qin, Han, Tang, right? And yesterday we saw the emperor belongs to the Han dynasty, and today the Qin terracotta, and tonight we have a Tang dynasty show for the Tang dynasty. So Qin dynasty, what's the year? 200 or 2,000 years ago, from 221 BC to 207 BC, almost 14 years. So before the Qin dynasty, what was the situation in China? China was not the united country before the Qin, and no emperor in China. We call China at that time as the 战国, the warring period, and totally 7 states: Qi, Chu, Yan, Han, Zhao, Wei, Qin. So you see, Qin just one of the 7 states. But at the year of the 221 BC, this emperor, he conquered another 6 small states and unified China the first time. And also he created a new title for himself either. It's called Huangdi. Huangdi means emperor. That means before him, emperor in China? No, just the Wang, the king, instead of the emperor. This emperor, he called himself as the Qin Shi Huangdi. What's the meaning? What's the significance? Qin, of course, Qin dynasty, Qin empire. Shi, S-H-I, means the first, the beginning. And Huangdi, one word, means the emperor. The first emperor of Qin. Because the emperor, he believed his empire, his dynasty, just everlasting, the lasting forever, right? So he would be the first emperor, and then second emperor Qin, third emperor of Qin. However, his dynasty was very, very short. How short? Just 14 years, that's it. From 221 BC to 207, that's it. Why? So we have to talk about this emperor a little bit. So if you wanted to ask, what do you think of this emperor? He is a good emperor or the bad emperor? Very, very hard to say. Not like the Jingdi emperor. We've been to his tomb yesterday. So in the Chinese history, most of the comments for Jingdi emperor, he was the quite nice emperor, right? How to tell? Just from the terracotta warriors he made, the size of the warriors, we can tell. Because you see the terracotta soldiers yesterday in the Yangling Museum, they're quite short, quite small, baby size. So smaller size means what? Just means the cost less, right? So just use the less people and spend the less money, right? That's the reason why his son, Emperor Wudi, Han Wudi, can open the Silk Road. Because his father, his grandfather, ancestors did a lot, build the solid foundation before him, caused the whole country and the people recovered from the Qin Shi Huangdi's period. But the Qin emperor, first the Qin emperor, he was not like that. So we talk about the good things he did first. Okay, we have to admit this emperor absolutely, he is the national hero. He unified China first time. And also he requested Chinese people, no matter which state you came from before, now we're the Qin people, we are the Qin Empire. We have to use the same language. I mean, the spoken language should be the same, and the written language should be the same. And also, we have to use the same, the money, the coin. That's very important. That's very important. So you can see, if you're familiar with the Chinese long history, you can see China always separate together and separate together, but finally, no matter how long, how many years we separated to each other, but finally, eventually, and China just reunited again by the big dynasty. Why? Why? Because we have a same cultural foundation, so we have the same culture. We have a same culture. Just like today, you can see the mainland of China, Hong Kong, the Taiwan, the Macau. We don't care how about the political things, but you can see we have the same characters. It's called Hanzi. We celebrate the same festival, 春节, Spring Festival. Is that right? And also we have the Han style, the costume, right? So this is the good thing that Qin Shi Huangdi did for the Chinese people. But on the other side, as the human being, this emperor, he was not very nice. Soft emperor. He treated his people so bad. How to tell? And you've been to Beijing already? Of course, you climbed the Great Wall, right? The Great Wall, this huge project, originally started from which dynasty? From Qin. From the Qin. So the same emperor, he did two miracles in the world. One in Beijing, Great Wall. Another one's here, THYI called soldiers. Okay, today we are the tourists. We are the travelers. So when you go to see the Great Wall, and when you are going to see the THYI called soldiers, you just feel, oh, awesome, fabulous. But actually, just think about it. What was the terrible thing for the people 2,200 years ago? The Great Wall built, go through the deep mountain, and the THYI called warriors. We didn't say. Okay, we don't talk about how difficult to make the THYI called warriors. Just think about it. So many 8,000 THYI called warriors, they buried underground 5 meters deep. So how did the people, they just made the so deep pit? By what? By the high tech? By the machine? No, nothing, just by hands. So many people died during this heavy construction. And also surrounding the emperor's tomb, we discovered, hundreds of the builders' tombs. And you open it, you found the people's bones there. And the bones, they look so struggled. The bending the legs, bending the arms, bending the body. So probably these poor people, they were buried alive by the emperor. Why? Because the emperor killed them just in order to keep the secret. He didn't want these people telling the others, I built the THYI called warriors and guarding my tomb. So cause the tomb robbers came in later. So you can see how cruel the emperor he was. Okay. So this emperor in his mind, no any religion. The Jingdi emperor, yesterday we talked about him. So not only the Jingdi emperor, during the long time of the Western Han dynasty, almost 200 years. Why the Han dynasty can be so long? Because this family, this noble family, they believed more in Confucianism. So very peaceful. But the Qin Shi Huangdi in his mind, no Confucianism. He even burned a lot of the books. Only keep what kind of the books? Agriculture things. He didn't want the people know a lot. He didn't want the people to be educated. So he just keep the books for the agriculture things only, and also buried a lot of Confucius scholars. Okay, this is the something bad he did damage the Chinese culture in the history. And also no Taoism, no Buddhism. So he believed only the law, only the punishment can let the people so scared of him and follow him and listen to him. So according to the history, it is said that the Qin dynasty, the law was very, very strictly, over strictly, and a big punishment for the people, common people, although you just did something wrong. So according to the Qin dynasty law, if you did something wrong, the small mistake, you will be in the jail, of course, absolutely. But not only you, all of your family members will be involved in, and also your neighbors either. So that is the terrible thing. But this emperor, although no any religion, in his mind, he was very, very superstitious. He tried to keep himself the life as long as possible. So when he was unified China, got the power, the Qin Empire, and more powerful, he worried about it. He would be die someday. So he was so scary. So just he tried to figure out some way to keep himself to be the long life forever. He tried many ridiculous ways. The most one is he listened to the person who told him the mercury can make you stay young forever. Is that true? Of course no. But anyway, the emperor believed his words. He didn't eat the mercury. He didn't drink the mercury directly, just the small pill, the mercury thing inside. So he had it day by day, a little by a little. So finally, we have to say the Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, he almost killed himself. Is that right? That's the reason why in the history it is said that Qin Shi Huangdi, he died suddenly when he was only 51 years old. He died suddenly. So when he was died, is him in the palace, in the capital here? No. He was still traveled somewhere, close by Beijing today. And his prime minister, his general, they were so worried. If the people in the palace, they knew the emperor died, old emperor died already, so caused the revolution and the farmers' rebellion happened. So they decided to send the emperor's body, the coffin, back to the capital as soon as possible. But 2,200 years ago, send something from Beijing to XI'AN, that will be the long way, right? It's the no flight and no bullet train. So on the way back to here, and the body was getting smelly. So try to cover this bad smell. They put the seafood and the shellfish inside, try to cover this smile. However, it was a shame, a pity. And the farmers' rebellion already happened all over China before the emperor's body, before the emperor's army, back to the capital, back to the palace. So the Qin dynasty collapsed, just finished, game over in the 2 years. That's it. So emperor died, the Qin Shi Huangdi after he died, and his son, the youngest son of him, to be the emperor of the Qin for how many years? Only 2 years, and the Qin dynasty gone. And 3 years later, China reunited again by the Han dynasty. So Han dynasty, yesterday I gave you the information about it already. So this is the basic information about the Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor in China, and the Qin Empire, the first dynasty in China. So today we are going to see his terracotta army. It is the buried objects and guarding the emperor's tomb and protect his spirit and afterlife. So maybe the people try to ask, are we going to see the tomb? No, we don't go to see the tomb. You remember yesterday on the bus I told you in SHANXI how many emperors buried here? Totally 73, right? And 71, the emperor's tombs already looted, stolen by the tomb robbers. Only 2 survived. Qin Shi Huangdi's tomb still preserved. It's not open yet. It's not open yet. So we are not going to see the tomb. Nothing to see, but not open it. And secondly, we are not allowed to climb up to the top of the emperor's tomb. The tomb, how it looks like, really looks like the Jingdi emperor's tomb we saw yesterday. The pyramid is the hill, the mountain looking. But according to the history, it is said that totally 700,000 people spent 38 years to finish his tomb. 700,000 people spent 38 years to finish his tomb. So more people involved in build the Great Wall, build the palace, and build the warriors. So you can imagine that 2,200 years ago in the Qin dynasty, how many people they just working for the emperor? So they must be suffered a lot from this emperor. So after they knew this emperor died, they believed it was the good timing for them to take over the Qin dynasty. So after the emperor died, the farmers' rebellion happened very quickly, caused the Qin dynasty collapse quickly, either, right? And the terracotta soldiers, if you ask me, Ivy, can you telling us how many people spent how many years to finish these terracotta warriors? I have no idea, because I mentioned from the history, no information. The history never talk about the terracotta soldiers until 1974. Even today, the terracotta soldiers, it is still the big mystery, and nobody can say and know everything about the warriors. No way, because firstly, no reliable information from the history, and secondly, terracotta soldiers, they buried underground, totally 8,000 pieces. But so far, how many warriors we dug them out? How many warriors we opened them? Around 3,000 pieces. That means more than 4,000 terracotta warriors. We still keep them right over there. So still something we cannot make sure completely. So why we don't want to open all of the pits? We just opened less than half because the colors. In 1974, when the when the farmer and he found the terracotta soldiers, the first slave, and how about the warriors? And they were, and their hands, their faces, almost like our real skin colors, the real skin colors, and the purple, blue, the red colors, and on the armor protection, and the brown color boots. But all of these wonderful colors, they just disappeared quickly in the couple of the weeks when they contact with the air. Okay, so when they exposed to the air, the colors gone quickly. So we had to stop the digging. So the second excavation work happened for the terracotta warriors at the year of 1994. So from the 1979 to 1994, we stopped the digging of the terracotta warriors for quite a long time. Even today, in the pit number 1, you only see less than half. In the front, you can see the warriors standing right over there, but moved to the back side, and they still buried with something. Where the soldiers, they stay underground. And how the terracotta warriors be discovered? So we have to talk about the farmer's story. At the year of 1974, XI'AN, long time no rain. So cause the farmers, they dug the water well everywhere, try to get the underground water for their fields. And one day, several farmers together during the digging the well, they discovered some pottery pieces and bronze weapons. But I don't think the farmers, they can really understand the significance of the pottery pieces only. So they just keep them away, ignore them, and still digging the well. But now, the one farmer, we call him as the farmer Yang, he was so lucky. The other guys got the pieces only, but he discovered almost complete, perfect, intact head of the soldier, terracotta soldier, with the colors. So he was so scary because these warriors, the color so fresh, so real, and black eyes. He believed he got something evil spirit, right? So he reported the government immediately. Come to my field, look what kind of the things I discovered. And then the government send more archaeologists to this area, try to figure out later. So later on, from this farmland, they discovered more and more pits and more terracotta soldiers. So we call them as the pit number 1, pit number 2, and the pit number 3 by the order of the discovery. The 3 pits, how big? Around the 24,800 square meters. And how many terracotta warriors? 7,800. 7,800. They're all different. So later on in the museum, the different soldier, you see, the different height and the different weight and the different looking and the different facial expression. They all different. No twins, no brothers right over there at all. And the Museum of the Terracotta Warriors, they set up and opened to us at the year of 1979, October the 1st. And today, we are going to see the 3 pits. The pits here, I just mean original, the real founding site. So the building, the pit 1, 2, 3, the exhibition hall, they just built, they just covered on this original, the founding site. You know, some people, before they came to China, they saw the terracotta warriors already, a few pieces, because the Chinese government, we pick up 18 pieces of the terracotta warriors, let them tour around the world. In New York City and in Washington, maybe in the Vancouver, and the people saw the exhibition right over there. But when they came here, after they visited the Museum of the Terracotta Soldiers, they told me, Ivy, that's still amazing because from the exhibition you only saw the pieces. You can't feel the very impressive from the skill from the whole army. To the museum, you can see the actual founding site. That is the incredible feel, right? Awesome. So today we can really enjoy the museum here. And this museum is quite big and too much walking for us, I've told you. So when we get into the museum, we will take the golf cart. The golf cart just transfer you from the first gate to the real entrance of the museum very quick. Maybe just use the 5 minutes. But when we finish the museum and no golf cart service, and everybody, we have to walk. We have to walk. Why? Because the government actually, they just made the deal with the local farmers. Terracotta soldiers, they found from where? From their farmlands and from their home. And after the soldiers being found, the government occupied this big area and removed them to somewhere. Of course, we give them the new pieces of the farmland and we built the new village for them. And to be honest, after the discovery of the terracotta soldiers and no more farmers, they still want to keep the agriculture things. Everybody want to make the good fortune. It's the easier to make money from the tourists. So we take the golf cart in, but when we take the way out, we are going to go through the vendors market. That is owned by the local farmers before, right? So if the golf cart transfer you back to the parking lot, nobody goes through there. Okay, so this is like the deal between the farmers and the local government. So before the visit in the museum, I have the 3 things just to let you know. Try to remember you. So I think you can just attention only 2 minutes. And the first of all, I buy the tickets for everyone. Don't lose your ticket. Don't lose your ticket. If you lose your ticket, so sorry, you have to pay another $26 to buy the new ticket. This museum, the 2 entrances and the 2 gates. So you have to show your tickets how many times? Twice. 2 ticket checkpoints. And secondly, and in the museum, you are allowed to gather the photos, but please turn off the flash, because every time you use the flash, that is the one time the damage the terracotta warriors. Don't use the flash. And thirdly, how to treat the vendors. I don't think you feel strange about the vendors, because in Beijing a lot, and later on in Shanghai also a lot. So terracotta warriors worse, because I mentioned around 20,000 tourists come to here visit the museum, and there are a lot of the vendors in the museum. You can see they just wear the heavy jacket and come closer to you, open the jacket and take the box out and say, do you want a terracotta warriors $1? Don't believe their words. It's not a real $1, okay? It's not a real $1. Why I try to spend a couple of minutes talking about this? Because I don't want to let you trapped by them. Also, I don't want to let something unpleasant happen. So I have let you know what will happen to you later. And these farmers, these vendors, they not only selling the terracotta warriors to you, they also sell some like the postcards and fake pieces, jade pieces, even the fruit, pomegranate, persimmon. But they all the trap. For example, they hold the small basket and the persimmon on it, and they say 20 yuan. Oh, 20 yuan cheap. I want to try the local persimmon. But after you purchase, you can see the basket. You know, only the one top, the 1 liter on the top is the persimmon. At the bottom, they just use the paper. Right? So, and also the terracotta soldiers, they tell you $1. So, oh, I know it's a fake. I don't mind. I just don't want to buy it for my little kid. Play it. But after you pay the money, they say, no, $1 for 1 figure in the box. You see the whole box, 10 pieces, $10. Okay, and also sometimes you don't have the exactly money, give it to them, right? You give them the 100 yuan, but they give you the fake money back. But if something, this case happened, I'm so sorry, don't come to me, I can't help you. They are vendors, okay? If you have the problem with the restaurant, with the hotel, yeah, no problem, we can help you. Jackie and I, both of us, we can help you. But for the vendors, so sorry. So you should know that in America, in LA, the same thing. I mean the tourist place, alright? And I remember the New Year's the festival. I've been to the LA.
是愉快，是難過，是陶醉，是情緒，或在日後是作傳奇。愛是盟約，是習慣，是時間，是白髮，也叫你我乍驚乍喜。完全遺忘自己，竟可 可相許生與死？來日誰來問起？天高風急，雙雙遠飛。愛是微笑，是狂笑，是傻笑，是玩笑，或是為著害怕寂寥。愛是何價，是何故，在何世，又何以對這世界雪中送火？誰還祈求什麼可歌可泣的結果？誰能承受後果？翻天覆海，不枉最初。雪中送火，愛在迷迷糊糊盤估錯愛便開始，這浪浪漫漫舊故事。愛在朦朦朧朧前生今生和他生，怕錯過了也不會知。跌落茫茫紅塵南北西東亦相依，怕獨自活着沒意義。愛是來來回回，情是一時又一時，是你與我至身永不沒別詞。是微笑，是狂笑，是傻笑，是玩笑，或是為著害怕寂寥。愛是何價，是何故，在何世，又何以對這世界雪中送火？誰還祈求什麼可歌可泣的結果？誰能承受後